You're going to cry your heart out. Why is that? Because the whole legitimacy of a Ben Torah, of a rabbi, is that his sources are only Torah. And then I mix in other things. You mix in other things, you're going to have conclusions that are not Torah conclusions. There's no worse accusation for a student of Torah that they mixed in foreign premises, not Torah premises. So, ironically, I was one time here, and I'm not saying you have to. There's a big debate in halacha, but so today in America they have a big problem because they have operations. Let's say, particularly, it's a man will undergo various operations, take hormones, do things. The result is the man looks like a woman, and they're arguing. The so to speak the non modern people say, what do you mean? So a man is a man, a woman's a woman's X chromosomes, Y chromosomes. You have what is it? So you have XY, it's a man, XY, it's a man, whatever it is, XY is a man, whatever it is, it's done. It's a man's across. So okay, so I'm reading, and all of a sudden I look and I see Rav Aldenberg, one of my heroes, the Rav Aldenberg from Eretz Israel. It's not clear what his conclusion was, but at one point he's writing, so he's saying, listen, he says, he says when you throughout the Torah, he says the determination of gender, he says is always by what's visible. You understand, and not by things that are microscopic. So he says at a certain point, if what you see is a woman, there's a good chance it's a woman. So I like somebody hit me in my chest. You understand? You get hit, you hit over here, all the breath goes out of you. Why? Because all of a sudden, what was I, an idiot? I'm thinking like I'm swallowing this guyish arguments. What do you mean? Boy's a boy and a girl's a girl. That's all. That's the genes and what is it? Wait a second. He's right. That's the Torah rule. Somebody, what am I doing? I got swallowing guyish ideas. I was so embarrassed. You know what I'm saying? You have to realize all your ideas have to be from the Torah. So also you have to see what's our determination. You always have to worry when you can't see something visibly. Will a medical test override what we see or what we don't see? Or no, we have to see that. We have to see the thing to make a determination. There's big problems with electricity. I thought that was a big problem. The physicists tell us what they believe is happening with electricity, but we don't see those things happening. You understand? We don't what the physicist tells us about electricity. We don't see. And in fact, a lot of the early literature on electricity from the great rabbis was based on what various physicists and told the rabbi. Some of the stuff was mistaken. Actually, it was even wrong. What they were telling him. But so Rabbi Auerbach, for example, at one point writes also. He says, "Listen," he says, one, we don't even know if what the physicists are saying is even true, their theories. He says, and anyway, he said, we have to follow what we see. He said, we're gonna have to look. We're gonna have to see what we visibly see. Do you actually see a fire, or you don't see a fire? Do you see the? You have to use the eyes and the Torah laws. You understand? The Torah determines things by a physical examination. We'll take on a microscopic. If you had to deal with microscopic things, you wouldn't be allowed to breathe. Every minute you're eating bugs. You are eating bugs. There's no question about it. You're eating things, but the Torah doesn't. The Torah is not concerned with them. Then what's the microscopic? If a bug is small enough to be seen, then you're not allowed to swallow it. If a bug is, but it's big enough to be seen, you're not allowed to swallow it. When it's microscopic, you are allowed to eat it. You're eating bugs all the time. Your whole body's full of bugs. Your skin is full of everything. It's everywhere. You understand? You're eating things all the time. So I'm just saying. So we have to determine where's the thing. But we have remember the only reason I didn't want to jump the gun here because we had a thing. Remember, so we had an opinion that it has to be clear what it was. That it was clear it was a boy from birth, even though it was clear later. Maybe it's not good enough. So we'll take a look. Okay.
Learning sponsors for today: Year of Learning, Friends and Family of Arthur Rithold, Mordechai Yidl Ben Baruch Leib, Friends and Family of Ziggy Besler, Shalom Shraga Bas Dov, Friends of Marvin Weinstein, Mordechai Ozer Ben Yisrael Aharon, Sarah Alpert, memory of her husband, Harav Tzvi Lipa Ben Hillel, Bella and David Adler, memory of her father, Eliyahu Ben Yosef Akon, friends of Honey Chayfetz, Chana Shoshana Bas Yosef, friends of Jack Prince, Yaakov Yitzchok Ben Shmuel Dov, friends of Sandy Davidoff, Shlomis Ben Chaim Eliyahu, friends of Judy Cohn, Yehudis Liba Bas Moshe, friends of Dr. Annette Zafransky, Chana Bas Ephraim Fischel, Gail and Leslie Kaplan, in memory of their parents, Mishka Sprinza Bat Yosef Chaim Bachava, Hanan Ben Moshe Eliezer, Chana Pesha Bat Shmuel Yitzchak Halevi, Tzipora, Isser Ben Yoel Moshe HaKohen V'Chana, friends of Linda Katz, Hinda Bas Yehoshua. Lee and Harvey Greenberg, in memory of their parents, Esther Bas Eliezer, Yaakov Yosef Ben Abraham, Sarah Rivka Bas Barak Yehuda, Betzalel Ben Abraham Halevi. A month of learning, that was a year of learning. Month of learning, Ronald and Susan Petolsky, in memory of his father, Tzvi Ben Pinchas, Charles Gelfenstein, in memory of his mother, Dacia Gittel Bas Meir Halevi, Charles Gelfenstein, in memory of his father, Meir Ben Yaakov. A week of learning, Michael and Sharon Glass, in memory of his father, Yitzchak Tzvi Ben Yechiel Nechel, Lala Besla, in memory of her mother, Reindl Bas Yechiel. And a day of learning today is the 13th. Esti Mizaf, in memory of her mother, Yehudis Bat Yosef Halevi. I apologize to you for
No, let's go. Anyway, but we did have earlier. Remember, we had earlier a discussion of what each Yolda Zohar gives birth to a male. It has to be a male, or we know it's a male from the moment of birth. We had such a piece earlier, so we have to see a lot of. Okay, so now the Gemara says, Meisive says the Gemara, the bottom, second line from the bottom of Mem. Gemara says, Meisive, let me ask you a kasha. We learned the following: a guy died and he left boys and girls and tumtum. Okay, and he left it. Okay, but he also left what, a tumtum, a person who's covered over. Tumtum yorish keben v'nios. We have an enigmatic teaching that the tumtum he inherits like a boy, and he is supported like a girl. The whole thing makes no sense. What is going on? Bishlam the Rava, it makes sense according to Rava what that he's either a boy or a girl. Yoresh keben b'nechasimot. So when there's a very little amount, so the boys are what? So the boys are there's not enough to support both, and they're giving the money to the girls. Okay, and they're giving money to the girls. So he gets like a boy, which means he's really not going to get anything. We have to be machmir. You have to be machmir. So look, maybe he's a boy, doesn't get anything. Okay. But if there's lots of food, if there's lots to support, then he doesn't get the boy's inheritance, but he gets at least what? He's at least a girl, so he gets what? He gets supported like a girl. Elabaya, but according to Abaya, what that he's neither boy nor girl. Mine is on kabas. What do you mean he gets like a girl? The girls say, "Get out of here! You prove you're not a girl." You know, it says, "Well, he can't even get like a girl." Well, listen, slow down. The Bryce is so enigmatic. You're going to have to allow both of us to have a hard pressed answer. The time is even according to you that he's either a boy or a girl. The Rava Mayerishkabeh. What do you mean he inherits like a boy? He doesn't inherit when there's not a lot of possessions. The boys don't get their inheritance. It goes to the girl. Ella. Sorry, okay, Ella, right there. You have to mean what? That theoretically he should inherit, but he's not getting anything. Vain Lo doesn't get anything. Hanami here too. Roy Lizard, theoretically he should get it. What? Vain Lo, he doesn't get anything. So therefore we remain with the argument about how to read the Mishnah. Now we said Omer Yod Ishti Zochar, etc. We said if a person says my wife gave birth to a boy, give him 100. Gives birth to a girl, give her 200. The main word the Bas said, so you see what that this guy, the example that the Mishnah took is that the guy wants to give when he's manipulating, he's changing or manipulating the inheritance. He wants to give more to a boy than to a girl than to a boy. He wants to give 200 to the girl, 100 to 100 with the boy. Didn't we say what? We see that from the learning that it's clear that boys are preferable. If a person doesn't leave a boy to inherit him, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is very upset, very angry at him. It says when the Torah uses the word to transfer, uses the word habartim. When there's no boy, you give it to the girl, and the language is what? That language of havar is the language of anger. Shenemar still be learned from the Navi. Yom Ebra Yomahu, the great day of judgment is going to be a day of great anger. Okay. So therefore, we have a problem. How can you say? So you see what there's it's true. It should be that everybody has a preference for boys. The answer no. In Yerusha, Ben are different than that. For Yerusha, when it comes to giving inheritance, Ben prefer boys. Why? Because their name is continued. The boy's going to continue their name. Their Yerusha going to stay with them. When you have a girl, it goes to another tribe. It's gone. She gets married, they go, it's out of your family, out of your tribe. When you have the boys, it stays in the tribe, stays in the family. But the girls, it goes out. The answer is min harabacha, but when it comes to supporting them, that's what I told you yesterday. Bito adifale. He's more. He prefers the girl. Fathers want to give money to their girls more than want to give money to the boys. As far as inheritance, they want the boys to get the inheritance to continue. But as far as the support, they want to support the girls. They're more worried about supporting girls. They're worried about supporting boys, and that's the way it's supposed to be. Okay. Shmuel Amar, he says no. He says I'll answer you another way. Because even what is it? It's really not a question of boys or girls before. It's talking about what when the woman is going to have the first baby. Why? Because Rav Chisda, like Rav Chisda, the Rav Chisda said, "Bas techila." He says what? He said what? Because no, what would you want from your firstborn? So he says what? He says Rav Chisda taught us that we learned that we have tradition that when the girl is first, Simon Yafalabanim, it's a good sign for boys. Now, what does that mean? If you have a girl first, why? It's good for the boys because if the girl's there first, she helps to raise the boys. Some people know and it's better to have a girl first. That people shouldn't be jealous of you and you have an ayin hara. In order to avoid the jealousy of ayin hara, better to have girls first than to have boys first. And he said, but for me personally, I prefer boys to girls because his girls lived and his boys didn't. I was married before everybody I knew. I got married very young. I tried to get married when I was 5. But I finally got married. My parents held me off, and I tried a few times to get married. They broke my heart when I was 5 years old. It was terrible, terrible. I tried at 5, I tried at 12, I tried at 16, and I left home. Anyway, then I met my wife. My parents didn't let me get married. They held me off. So I finally got married. But anyway, I got married before everybody. And but I didn't have children for years. It took 8 years to have a kid. So all my friends had kids before I did. So Lamaisa, when I finally had a kid, so my first wife, she rest in peace, her parents, may they rest in peace, they came to Eretz Yisrael. They were so excited we were going to finally have a baby. So I had the baby. I was as far as you could be in Yerushalayim in those days. The farthest walk you could make was essentially from I lived by the old city. To Hadassah. Hadassah Hospital was next to an Arab village called Ein Karim. It was so the longest walk you could take in the city would be from that hospital to where I lived those days. So we had the baby Shabbos morning, So by all rights, I should have just sat there, wait till Motzi Shabbos. But I knew that my whole family they're all in tenterhooks, So I walked all the way home, just to to give them the news. We had a girl. So I walk in, I tell them, and my first mother-in-law, the first thing she says, she said, Baruch Hashem, I was hoping it wouldn't be a boy. I didn't want a boy. I didn't want ayin hara, she said. She knew all these things. She was when she was a little girl, she grew up in Karpete Mountains, Nemunkach. Her father used to send her to watch the shochet to see that the shochet shechted the way that the father wanted. And when I was first married, I came to visit in America. And I didn't even know. I didn't know I was cheating. I had a chachma sudden behind my back with the laws of shchita, and I would look into the book and ask her a question about shchita. She'd say, "Oh no, that's okay." Says this. I said, "Oh no, that's not kosher." I was looking at the book. I was looking at the. That was how it was in Europe. They knew a lot. They knew a lot. Anyway, so she knew this. So she at first she said, Baruch Hashem, she didn't want to her. She's happy it was a girl first and not a boy. She knew this because she knew about this. Anyway. Yeah, talking thing, but the Sundays, the point people are looking. You rather, who needs an ayin hara? That's what they're discussing. One of the reasons why they say, but yeah, everything you're right. Everyone want the mitzvah, I'm saying, but there's also other overriding factors, especially. And she was especially worried that since we didn't have a kid for a long time, and everybody's looking, she didn't want a boy. My father's mother, his youngest brothers were 2 twins. She never dressed them in the same clothing, wouldn't put them out together. She did everything that nobody should see that she had twins. Why? She didn't want ayin hara. She was terrible. She didn't want ayin hara. She never let it be seen. They were twins. They were, and she never let it look like they were twins. She didn't want ayin hara. Nobody should be looking at her kids. Interesting. Anyway, another possibility is okay. What is it? What are we talking about? Why did you give more to the girl than to the boy? So we're giving different answers over here. Why girls might be more pleased? Well, I said no. Even if boys are generally more preferable when it comes to firstborn, you want a girl. For that reason, the first one, because you don't want nine horror, you want because you can help to raise the boys. Or another one, if you say Hamani, this was all according to he says this idea that taking care of the girls is more important than the boys. It's Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, so much says hi, Rabbi Yehuda. Now we're going to be searching which Rabbi Yehuda. I'm not sure. You told me the answer, but I'm not sure which Rabbi Yehuda you're speaking to. Rabbi Yehuda the Bakol. Remember, we by Avram it says Hashem Beirachas Abraham Bakol, that Avram was blessed Bakol. Every six Rabbi Yehuda spoke about the drasha Bakol. The Tanya Hashem Beirachas Abraham Bakol, that Hashem blessed Avram Bakol, and Bakol is what? What was the problem? The problem was what? You have machlokas. What is the drasha of Bakol? Rabbi Meir says what? Shloy Alabas. He was blessed that he didn't have a girl. He had a Bakol. If you take the gematria, what's a Ben? If you take the number for Ben, it's Bezin, it's 52. And Bakol is also 52.
It's Rashi.
Yeah, it's also 52, right? So therefore, what? So Hashem blessed him, what? That he didn't have a girl. So, okay, that he didn't have a girl. So that's not going to fit with us. But Rabbi Yehuda says, no. Now, comes down in one way. It comes out a different way in other places. But we're here. So he had a daughter. Her name was Bakol. So the bracha was the blessing was that he got a girl. You see, girls were better. It says Imar Disham Slay Rabbi Yehuda. Okay, Barta Nami Barta. Okay, he says you're making a mistake. He says even that what Rabbi Yehuda said, he didn't tell you girls will get it better than boys. What he told you was that Hashem did not hold back even a girl from Avram. Did you hear the girls are better? They didn't prove it. There must be this Rabbi Yehuda that shows you girls are better. The Tanya, we learned Lazunas Habanos. Okay, we learned that it's a mitzvah for a father to feed his girls. Okay, why? Because it says you're not allowed to distance yourself. You're not allowed to disassociate yourself from your own relative. You have a mitzvah to support your children. Now, I have a lot to speak about this. So, there's not an obligation. You have to, but you have a mitzvah. You have a mitzvah to support them. Okay. And so now he says what? Okay. Okay. Yeah, we're going to discuss it. Yeah. So right, there's a lot to talk about here. The Tanya, because we learn mitzvah is in a sabbath. It's a mitzvah to support them. And listen, all the more so for boys. That's Torah. They learn Torah. Okay, Rabbi Meir, that was Rabbi Meir's opinion. Rabbi Yehuda says no. He says mitzvah lazunas abanim. He says it's a mitzvah to support your sons because they learn Torah. But all the more so, it's even more mitzvah to support the daughters, the Lalitzalan, that they shouldn't be debased, by having to go out and find money. So therefore, what you see that when it comes to support, girls have the preference. So therefore, what we want to—that's what a guy's saying. Listen, if she gives birth to a girl, give her more. He wants more money to go to a girl. But what do we mean? We have another enigmatic brisa. We learned if she gave birth to a boy and a girl, so the girl gets, so the male gets 6 dinar, which is what, 150, and the girl gets 2 dinar, which is 50. Okay, now. So we're going to bring our point in a minute, but Mike, this is enigmatic. What on earth are we talking about? What case? In what case does that if she has a boy, he gets 150, and if he has a girl, she gets 50? Rabashi, Amriti Shemai said Kamei, the Rav Kahana. I said this to Rav Kahana, and Rav Kahana, even though other people learned this, Rav Kahana explained it to me. He says, Bimasari, he says, where the person said something and then reversed it. You turn it around backwards. The Omar, first notes, he said like this. He said before his wife gave birth to twins, he said, Zachar Tchila Masayim. He says, if the boy is first, okay, he's going to take 200. The Keva Acharab, okay, local limit. If the girl's born after him, she shouldn't get anything. Okay, the Keva Tchila, if the girl's born first, she gets 100. Okay, Achareha, okay, and whoever's born and Zachar Achareha, the boy's born after her, he gets 100. You see, it's in one case it's 100, one case it's 200, 0. Girl first 200, boy first 200, nothing. Girl first 100. The Yolda Zachan Nekeva, but she didn't give birth to a boy, and then she gave birth to a boy and a girl. We don't know who came out first. So now we got a problem. It was supposed to be boy, girl, 100, 0, girl, boy, 100. Okay, now we don't know who's first. So he said, here's what you do. Therefore, what was the answer? The boy gets 100 no matter what, because whether the boy was first or girl was first, he's going to get 100 or 200. So it makes no difference. Okay, the only thing is, okay, but what the girl, okay, what about the other 100. So now we don't know. Is it the girl came second and she gets 0, or the girl came first and she gets 100? Then the answer is what? I mean, mama no mutu b'safek. So this is money that's in doubt that nobody. In the case, nobody. It's not a legal doubt. It's a factual doubt. There's no way to solve it, and that's simple as we say what that's that's money in doubt. The chokin, and we divide it. We get half and half. I said, but we see what. Okay, well that was it. So well, I'll tell you 1 second. Let me. So what about this enigma? Yolda zochan akeva ein lo elamana. If she gives birth to a boy and a girl, okay, he only gets 100. What's the case? Okay, what case is that price of talking about? But these are enigmas. Okay, they're like puzzles. Amar Ravina. So Ravina said, he says, what is the case? It's not a case. It's a case where what? He didn't say anything to give a boy and a girl. Okay, he didn't say about the birth of a boy or girl to give money. No, rather what? The Masrani was talking about who gives him the news. He's going to reward the person who gives him the news. The Tanya we learned. Here, that's the case he's talking about. Where it said what? We learned, I'm a Vasreni, whoever tells me what my wife's first baby is, okay, im zachar, if he tells me what she gave birth to a boy, I'm going to give him 100. Okay, Yalda zachar, okay, and what happened? Yalda zachar, and she indeed gave birth to a boy. Yeah, there's another way to show. There's another way to read this. 1 second, I'm going to read it the other way. The simple way that I have it is hard. I'm going to read it the other way. It makes it easier, even though I'm cheating. 1 second, like this. 1 second. Yeah, I'm going to read it like this. There's an argument how to read it. He says like this. I'm a Vasreni, but men niftar rachma shalishti. Okay, he says like this. Im zachar. If he tells me it's a male, yitolman, I'm going to give him 100. Yolda zachar. Okay. And if he tells he gives a male, it's 100. And he also said im the keva mana. He also said what at the same time if he says it's a girl, he's going to get 100. You hold in a keva and she gets 100. And if she gives birth to a female, no mana, he gets 100. Yolda zocher in a keva. Now, so he said, listen, if you tell me it's a boy, I'm going to give you 100. Tell me it's a girl, I'm going to give you 100. Yolda zocher in a keva. But if she gave birth to a boy and a girl, ain't lo elamana. Gave birth to it, he only gets 100. Okay. Now, and so what's the chiddush? The point is like this. So we'll go back. What was the case? What was the enigma of the brisa? The brisa said if she gave birth to a boy and a girl, he only gets 100. The point is here, even though he said what? A boy, tell me it's a boy, I'll give you 100. Tell me it's a girl, I'll give you 100. She gave birth to a boy and a girl, so what would you think? He should get 200. The chiddush is what? No, he only gets 100. Even though he said, if you tell me it's a boy, it's 100. Tell me it's a girl, it's 100. Then she gave birth to a boy and a girl. He still meant whatever it was. So therefore, what? He's still going to get 100 and not 200. Okay. What do you mean? Well, but he gets 100. Why should he even get 100? He didn't say I'm going to give 100 for a boy and a girl. He said 100 for a boy, 100 for a girl, but not 100 for a boy and a girl. Okay. The answer, don't worry. The Brisa meant the Amar Nami also said if it's a boy and a girl, Nami to one. He says also 100. So now what? So Mutima. So then good. Then what is it? What am I saying? What are you talking about? So you should have said whatever you tell me. What do you mean? You told me if it's a boy, I'm gonna give you 100. Girl, I'm gonna give you 100. Boy and a girl, I'm gonna give you 100. So why do you bother? You should have said, tell me, whoever comes and tells me, I'm gonna give him 100. He said a boy 100, a girl 100, boy and a girl 100. That's how I explained the Brisa. So he said nothing. Just say whatever you tell me, I'll give you 100. Okay, so what's the case? If he's going to get 100 no matter what, what's the point of telling me if this, if that, if this? The answer is what? The answer is the muti nefel. No, it was a possibility. If it comes and tells me it was a stillbirth, it wasn't a live baby, it wasn't a live boy or a live girl or both, that he's not going to pay. That he's not paying. Hahu the Amar la l'debisu. A guy was dying, and he said to his wife, he says, Nifsi lahai the mabart. He says, whoever you give birth to, I'm giving my possessions to. That's what I'm giving my inheritance to. Amravuna habi mizakal uber. He said, but look, he's trying to give something to a fetus. A mazakal uber, look, honey, you can't give something to a fetus until a kid's born. You can't get. He's not a live thing. He's not a person. You can't give him anything, till he's born. Gemara says, ACB. 1 second, is that true? You can't get. I'll show you can give things to baby to eat to fetuses. ACB, Rab Nachman or Huna. He's winning me the Kasha. Our Mishnah, we look at our Mishnah. We just learned it. Our Mishnah is clear. You give things to fetuses. Didn't we learn? Okay. Omer Yolda Ishti Zachar Yitomon. He said, my wife gave birth to a boy. He gets 100. Yolda Zachar. No, if he's born, okay, he gets 100. So you see what? That he gave a gift to whom? To a fetus before it was born. Amar Lei says Mishnah Seinu. Any of the Mishnah says you're right. He says, you know what? I can't justify this Mishnah. I don't know an opinion in the world that justifies what that Mishnah said. You're right. It's an enigma. You can't give things to fetuses. Okay, Bar says 1 second. Rafuna said, what are you talking about? Sure, we have opinions that give things to fetuses. Didn't we learn Rabbi Meir here? Rabbi, he should tell him, Rabbi Meir. Remember, we learned this before. Why the Amar Adam Makna Davar Shalom Ba'olam? A person can sell things that don't exist. A person can sell things that don't exist. And there's even a hobby you can sell to things that don't. To not only is the object, but also the recipient doesn't exist. Mar says, no, what did you hear, Rabbi Meir? Remember, we had this before. You can sell something that doesn't exist to someone that does exist. Okay, but to sell something that doesn't exist to someone, there's something that doesn't exist. Even Rabbi Meir never held you can sell something to someone that doesn't exist. Well, when you look at the original source of Rabbi Meir, it really does look like you can. By the way, it does look like you can.
Stop YouTube.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So one thing, so I can sell you a product of this, but I have to sell it to somebody that exists. But if I sell this, I'm selling what doesn't exist to somebody who may come into being. That doesn't work. That you can't do. It's a. If you go back to the case of Rabbi himself, you'll see it really made sense to say both. Okay, but Malay, I guess. Okay, but still, we show some to there's an opinion you can sell. You can transfer things to a fetus. Rabbi Yossi, it's Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi held you can give things to a fetus. That's not we learned. Now, here, you know that a woman who marries a Kohen, but if a Kohen has slaves, the slaves allowed to truma. Things that his possessions, his human possessions, are allowed to eat his truma, certainly his family, and his wife is allowed to eat truma as long as he's alive, or even after he dies if she has a kid. If she doesn't have a kid, she can't eat truma. So now it's interesting. And furthermore, let's say a Kohen slave was inherited by a non-Kohen, so that slave can't eat truma. So, for example, let's say if a Kohen slave was inherited by a guy who's Israel, who is an Israelite, so the slave can't eat truma. So now we have an interesting problem. And if anybody who's not a Kohen, in order for a slave to eat truma, he has to be owned exclusively by a Kohen. If he's owned by a Kohen and by Israel, the slave can't eat truma. So take a look at this interesting case. We learn Uber posel, okay, the baby will stop the slave of the Kohen from eating truma, and he won't allow his own mother to eat truma. In other words, this fetus is not a Kohen. So in the stomach, the fetus stops the slave from eating because the fetus is not a Kohen, but he inherits. Okay. And he's not and also because he's not born, he doesn't allow his mother to eat. No, the slave can't eat. He stops the slave from eating. Let me make sure I said it correctly to you. Yeah, and he stops both. Let me spell it out. Here we know that Eved for the Kohen can eat truma. Okay, like we know because the pasuk said it. But but it's only when the owner is a Kohen. Okay, but for example, let's say the Kohen dies without children, and now the Kohen is being inherited by the son of his daughter, who is an Israelite, because he has an Israelite father. So they're not called the slaves of the Kohen, and they can't eat. And Rabbi Yossi holds that the fetus in the mother's belly, okay, of the Israelite, he's an Israelite. And he's not a Kohen, okay, only when he's born. In other words, let's say a Kohen's married. A Kohen, remember, the wife of the Kohen was the Israelite. She can eat as long as the Kohen's alive, and Kohen's alive. or she can eat when the Kohen's dead if she has a baby.
It mustn't be a boy.
Yeah. So,
It must
no,
be,
no.
it doesn't have to be
No.
a boy.
But now, but let's say the woman, she's pregnant. So now we're in what's the word? We're in we don't know what's happening. She's pregnant. And now, so what do we say? So now that baby in her belly is called an Israelite, and it's not a coin until it's born. When the baby's going to be born, she'll be able to eat because he's the son of a coin. But in her belly, it's not called the son of a coin, and what? So she's not allowed to eat. Okay, and furthermore, what? But at the same time, he is the inheritor of the slave, and he is an Israelite inheritor of the slave till he's born, and therefore what? So he stops. The slaves have to stop eating, okay, because they're now owned by an Israelite, and the mother can't eat because what? She doesn't have a coin. She doesn't have a Kohen son. Incredible. She has no son. Okay, she doesn't have a Kohen son. So you see what? So you see it's not uber poso. So the baby in her belly stops the slaves from eating. He doesn't allow his mother to eat because he's not born yet. Okay, right. Everybody's forbidden until he's born. So you see what? So you see that, but here's the point: you see that even when he's in the mother's stomach, he still owns the slaves. That's what stopped the slave from eating because because the slave is now owned by what? By an Israelite in the stomach until he comes out. So you see so the babies can acquire. You get the babies inherit what's in the belly. Mar says no. Shani Yerusha Bamila, you're making a mistake. Things where the Torah shoves it into a person's possession but without any legal transfer. That's different. You're right. Inheritance is true, but we were talking about what the guy's trying to give a gift to the one who's not born. That doesn't work the same. Okay, but later they should still say we can still defend the Mishnah that you can give a gift to a baby. As Yocham Broka, who said Amar Lo Shana Yerusha makes a difference whether you gave. Remember, we learned earlier a gift I can give the way I want, but an inheritance I can't manipulate because you can't make conditions on the Torah. Yocham Broka said you can even make conditions on the Torah as long as it's within the parameters. So I can still, if three sons are going to inherit, I can manipulate. Instead of each inheriting a third, I can give it all to one, etc., etc. So he said, and that makes a difference. Just like I can give a gift to I want, I can also give a Yerusha, even an inheritance, and it's not called making conditions on the Torah law. Damar lo shana Yerusha lo shana matana. It makes no difference whether it's an inheritance or a gift. You can manipulate within the bounds of the law. It's not Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka Omer, like we learned. Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka said the Mishnah. Im Omar al Misha Yoroi the Yosha the Kamim. As long as he gives it to a kid of one of the boys who are all supposed to inherit, he can manipulate it, and it's a good inheritance. So and it sounds like what anybody who's fit, even if the kid's not born yet, even if the boy is what in the belly. Okay, says, get out of here. Ima the Shamas Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. When did Rabbi Yochanan Broka say that? He says, he meant boys that exist. He says, what? Okay, he says, he never said. You don't have to say that he meant anybody, because the language, anybody who's fit to inherit sounds like what? So to speak, theoretically can inherit. So you're saying what? He means like even a kid in the belly. He never said that. I have a layman like 1 second, but why don't we make a combination, a combo? It's a combination of Yochanan ben Broka and Rabbi Yossi. That you can also and he'll make a combo as if it's together. That even though we could all say no, it has to be automatic. We say what a combination of what that once it's within the parameters. Then even an Uber can do because you put together Rabbi Yossi, who says that the baby can inherit, and Rabbi Yochanan Broka says what that anybody's fit to inherit. You put it together. So we've got that Miyam of the Tzavah says who said Rabbi Yochanan Broka? You never found an opinion that you knew for sure held that you can give a gift to a baby. And say it was inheritance. Okay, but why don't you say it like this? Why don't you say yeah, 1 second. I hope I said correctly. Okay, if I'm not wrong, you'll correct me with it. But okay, and he should have said, listen, I can still find an opinion to justify a mission of giving something to the fetus. But Vasreni, why don't you say the case of the Mishnah wasn't, well, he's giving it to the baby that's going to be born. He means to say, the one who tells me the news, I'll give him something. So Yachi says, how can you say our mission is talking about giving a gift to the person who, a reward to the news giver? Yachi, the Tani B'Sefer, how did you learn the end? Remain Sham Yorish Elahu, the end of the mission says if there's no other inheritor except for what? Except for the tumtum, who it was covered over, we can't tell the gender, the sex. Okay, who Yorish Hakol? He gets everything. Even Basrei was talking about the person who gives the news. He says Yorish. I mean, what's the connection between him and an inheritor? Just anybody gives the news. It's not an inheritor. Okay. Let me just see what should I do one more? No, we'll stop here because oh yeah. No, one more. I have a lay. Why don't you say this? Bishi Yolda. Why don't you say it's a case where she already gave birth, okay? And he said what? Whatever it was, no, the kid was already born. Whatever, if she gave birth to this, he gets this. He gave birth to that, this, okay? Okay, he said, no, that's true. Does that make you have a problem? It's talking about a kid that was already born, and there's no question of it. You obviously can give things to kids that's born. They're trying to be safer, but how do you explain the end of the Mishnah? He says, whatever she gives birth to, okay, he shall take it. It should say not anything that my wife tailored is a future tense verb. What do you mean anybody that she'll give birth to? Kol Taylor, what do you mean she will give birth? Kol she yolda mi bayale. If it was talking about the kid was already born, it should say whatever she gave birth to. Therefore, what? We're stuck, and that's why up till now, why he was correct in saying, I can't find a single opinion in the world that says you can give things to a fetus before it's born. Okay, I mean, part of that, I think I confused a little bit.
There's this medication called, I think it's called my